when we're talking about like your successes and what you've done, because there are tons of them.
Yeah.
You know, you've got some massive accolades in
Yeah.
there, the stages that you've spoken on, the lives that you've impacted, the books, the podcast, you know, winning awards for
Yeah.
your coaching, etc.
Yeah.
And they're the things that you'll be remembered for.
Yeah.
But actually, and I'm a massive fan of Maya Angelou, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but they'll never forget the way you made them feel.
Yes.
So
No.
I love interviewing people, and I think we're going to give people gold in this, but I
Yeah.
also want to give actionable points.
Yes.
Because so often there's, you know, a good friend of mine, David, he calls it the wind and piss. There's always wind and piss around it, but what's the reality? So what actionable
Wind and
points?
piss.
Wind
I
and
like
piss.
that, you know.
He's fab,
I
is
think I'm
David.
going to steal that one.
Like, there are going to be people at all different stages, the death by 1,000 cuts,
Yes.
who are at cut one where they're thinking this is a bit shit.
Yes.
Or they're at the point where they're thinking those same things. Because when you said that, I got goosebumps thinking, how often do people actually get to a point where they think, no one would notice if this happened, or no one would care? And they're two different things. People noticing is one thing,
Yes.
people caring.
People knowing is the problem. If people
Yeah.
don't know, like that was my problem. People didn't know that I was rock bottom.
But why did you, was it just the fear of judgment? Was it fear of, I've got no right to feel this way when other people would love
A
my
little
life?
bit of that. But also I didn't want to talk about it because I already felt like a huge burden. I already thought I was making everyone's life harder. I was like, everyone's life's harder with me in it. So if I then tell them, because I was volatile as fuck, I'd go missing for days at a time. Turn my phone off. It was all cries for help, really. But I already felt like a problem for people, so I didn't want to put more problems on their plate when I knew Leslie was struggling.
Yeah.
She had a newborn. She had a 2-year-old. We just moved back home. She had a fucking 34-year-old baby. Hairy baby. Hairy baby.
Third child.
And like, I didn't want to put anything else on her because I already felt like a nightmare for her.
This is so common, though, that when you hear, because, you know, thank God, and it's Leslie we have to thank for the fact
she's a
that she,
gangster.
like, why was she there? How did she know? Because obviously it's not something
I
that
get
where
asked
you've
this all
gone,
the time.
oh, I'm going to go and, you know,
Yeah.
hi everyone, quick
Leslie
intro.
would,
I'm
Leslie
off
would, it sounds a bit stalkery, this. It sounds a bit baby reindeer, but Leslie would, when she knew I was on one, she'd just follow me. So that day, she actually had to leave Nina in the car. 6 months old, Nina must have been then, maybe a little bit older. She had to leave her in the car and follow me.
Do you think she had a sixth sense and knew it, or was it just
A
I'm
little bit,
following
but
you
she'd
it
follow
by
me
bit?
all over. Sometimes I drive to Weatherby for no reason, and then she'd be there. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
How does it make you feel knowing that you made her feel like that?
Guilt. But I wouldn't say huge amounts. It's going to sound weird because all of that has led to where we are now, which is like, fucking hell. We're in a fucking great place. Do you know what I mean? There's not many other people, not many other couples that can do what we do at the level we do it at.
Yeah.
People that like, we get interviewed fairly often, both of us at the same time. They're like, well, when you get home, do you like switch off from work? I'm like, no, why would we? We love it.
Yeah.
Why would we have a rule of no work at home? We both value what we do very highly. We both have very different roles in the business.
But it also shows that you love it because you don't have to switch off from it.
Nah, I do love it. I mean, I don't love all of it. Sometimes I'm like, oh,
Yeah, there's always shit that we don't enjoy.
he's a cunt. Let's not talk about him.
I believe you just said that about Mark.
But it's like, if that didn't happen, we wouldn't be where we are right now, without a shadow of a doubt.
So would you say guilt and gratitude in equal measure?
Yes. No, more
Not
gratitude than
more
guilt. A small amount of guilt.
Do
Which
you
sounds
think
weird because I
that's-
feel like it's weird. I feel like I should feel more guilty, but I've worked so hard to not have regrets. I've worked so hard to find the gift in every situation that I couldn't possibly have too much guilt, because guilt means I'm only seeing one side of it.
Yeah. So this is a moving target because you probably felt, and again, this is why I wanted
at the time
practical things for people. Like you've got to go through that for you to get the gratitude. You've got to feel the guilt, because actually, if you didn't care, But would you say that that's increasing? Like it was, you know, guilt in this measure and gratitude in this measure, and the balance
it outweighs
is changing.
itself all the time. Yeah. And I suppose every time I talk about it, and when people say, "Oh, you and Leslie are this, you and Leslie are that," I'm like, "Oh." I'm like,
because you're so close to it.
Maybe we are.
It's normal for
Maybe
you.
we are. And do you know what? The most guilt I felt was probably around about 6 years later, when my friend Webby sent me a message and he said, "Have you listened to this podcast interview with Leslie?" And I was like, "No, she would hate it." Me listening back, he said, he said, skip forward to this bit. I'm going to find this hard to say, so. She said she almost let me do it because she hated seeing me in so much pain. Like, she almost was like, I'm going to let you do it. And then she also said, and this blew me head off because this couldn't have been further from the truth, that she thought I was suicidal because she was a shit wife. And that really hurts me to say that. So when I first heard that interview, I was like, oh, fuck me. Because I didn't know any of that. She didn't tell me any of that. I would never have, because I didn't think she was, I would never have thought that she thought that I thought she was.
She had no reason to feel that way, and in your mind it was furthest from the truth. But this...
Well, because it's all about me.
This also
when
cements...
I'm suicidal, when I'm rock bottom, there's no thoughts of anyone but me. Same when I create anxiousness, like I'm just thinking about me. You become very insular. Yeah. Because you got to consider at that point in my life, I'd isolate myself from everybody because I cut out all the negative people. And then I quickly realised no one left. No one left. Honestly, because everyone likes to complain.
You were the common denominator.
Was complaining about people complaining. It's mad, isn't it?
Do you know what, though? It's fascinating that to hear her side of the story, because quite often... my head off. Yeah. But that it also shows kind of roles reversed. Yeah. That although you were so kind of encapsulated by how you were feeling, and so many people who suffer from any kind of mental health or
couldn't see a future, couldn't think of it, couldn't find it. Because the problem was also, you got to think about this, most of the things that I was doing was to feel better. Yeah. That's all.
Yeah. It was trying to run away from it.
And then it got to the point where I'm like, well, I'm doing everything I can. I mean, it wasn't obviously useful. Yeah. But how much booze and sniff can you do before it gets to the point where you're like, well, actually, I can't feel any better. Yeah. What do I do? I couldn't see any other ways to feel better.
I find it fascinating that she was feeling that way as well. Because actually, that's
she couldn't get me any help. The help back then was she couldn't get me any help.